and Coach Todman here, and today I want to share something with you that is very important for all singers, actors, and speakers to understand about their voice. Now, oftentimes I assume that most people already know this, but the reality is a lot of people aren't aware of this. So I want to shed some light, and I have this painting that I created that is up on the wall in my studio, and I decided to take it down for this video because this painting actually helps people understand their voice better. And I discovered it quite by accident. I just made this painting, and one day a student said to me, "You know, Doc, I don't understand why my voice sounds different depending on which note I'm singing. Something different is happening for me. Can you explain that?" And it was funny because this painting was on the wall, and I looked at it and I realized that's a picture of the voice. And I can use this analogy of color to help people understand what really goes on in their voice and why sometimes if I'm singing like this, it sounds different than if I'm singing like this. What is that? And why is singing like this easier for most people? So I'd like to answer those questions. The first important thing to understand is that we have really I'd like to say three different registers. Some people say there's only two, but I believe there's three. If you look at this painting, and I know there's a lot of things floating around in this painting that we're not going to address, but if you were to notice the three major colors in this painting, that's what we're going to be looking at today. So you can do this with me. Go ahead and put your hand on your chest. This is the first resonating cavity. I just want you to say, ah. Do that with me. Ah. Can you feel the buzz in your hand? All right. So I call this your chest voice, but I have a better name for it using the painting. If you look at the lowest color of the painting, we can say that it's red, okay? I know there's a big yellow ball there, but just ignore that for now. So my chest voice is what I like to call my red voice. Now, I also address chakras as a vocal coach, as a vocal empowerment coach. I like people to understand their inner world and their outer world. What's going on physically, what's going on energetically, and what's going on mentally. But I just want you to know that this picture, I created this long before I knew anything about chakras. So you can remember that, oh yes, red is the root chakra, but nothing else correlates. So just stay with me on this and just acknowledge that red is chest. Say, red chest. Right. Okay, so when you're singing or speaking in chest voice, what's going on in your vocal cords? Let's look at that. So your vocal folds are two tiny fleshy flaps that live inside of your larynx, okay? And these tiny fleshy flaps are made out of air and muscle. And our goal as a singer is to make sure that air is filtered evenly from low all the way up to high notes. And the problem is, a lot of times, it's not. So if you were to look at these tiny fleshy flaps, I'm doing this with my fingers. I do this sometimes in videos to show you. They're really going like this, but I'm just going to hold my fingers up and pretend this is a vocal cord, this is a vocal cord. They do this, and the faster they do it, the higher the note. The slower they do it, the lower the note. Do you know how many times they do this in 1 second on a low note? Guess. Yeah. I can't even wrap my brain around this. Between 200 and 2,200 times in 1 second, depending on how high the note is. This is why, if that seems mind-boggling to you, well, yeah, so why try to micromanage your voice? It's way beyond what we could ever imagine, okay? But getting back to these tiny fleshy flaps, when you're singing in your chest voice, they're using all the chord, okay? So they're doing this. Now, I'm just showing you because what's going to end up happening is your chords start to unzip as your notes get higher. So again, what color is your chest voice? Red, right, say red chest, okay? Red. Now what's going to happen, I want you to take your hand, just for fun, your other hand, put it on your head, and what's the highest color in that painting? Blue, right. So I want you to say, blue, head, blue, woo. Wait a minute, do you feel anything here anymore? Woo! I don't feel anything. So that means something different must be happening with my vocal cords. And something different is happening. Now when I'm in my head voice, I'm only using about a third of the chord. And I'm just speaking symbolically here to help you to understand. If I'm only using a third of the chord, guess how much air I need now? Do I need more air or less air? If you said more air, you're wrong. You actually need less air. Woo! Because you're using less chord. Okay? So, hopefully you learned something really important just there if you didn't already know this. As notes get higher, do you need more air or less air? Less air! That's right. Less air and more support. Woo, woo, woo! So the blue voice is the head voice. Now, a lot of people call this falsetto. Head voice is not the same as falsetto. If I'm using head voice, again, I'm using a third of my chords. Oh! And if I'm using a third of my chords, I'm still getting a decent sound. Oh! If I'm using chest voice, ah! Right, I'm pushing. I'm just showing you what people try to do. Ah! They try to push chest. Not a good thing. Okay? If I do this all day long with my fingers, what's going to happen? Eventually, I'm going to get callous, right? You don't want to do that inside of your vocal cords, because if you damage your vocal cords, you cannot get them repaired easily. You have to do something called laser surgery, which a lot of times is very difficult for doctors to get, just if you develop a nodule, to get that off without taking off a little too much or leaving on a little too much. So your voice will never be the same. Okay, it's important to look after it. And knowing the difference between chest, red, and blue head is important. But, you know, I don't want to just sound like either chest or head, and this is where a lot of singers have issues. For example, if I go, ah, oh, ah, right, red, 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 blue, red, red, red. That doesn't sound right. That blue sounds funny. So, what if I were to take red and blue and mix them together? What color would I get? I always joke because guys always say green or orange, but girls always know, and I joke with you guys, but a lot of you guys are colorblind, okay? You get purple, and I know that my painting isn't a pure purple, but neither is your voice. Your voice is a mix, which, just like this painting, in that purple register, there's a little bit of head and there's a little bit of chest. It blends. Ah, instead of ah, ah, right? Or ah, purple, purple, purple. And on the female voice, the purple voice usually starts, or the middle mix, right? It's in the middle. The middle voice usually starts around that B, just below high C, and goes B and C and D. I don't have my keyboard turned on right now where I plonk out the notes, but you can easily go to your keyboard and do it. Maybe I'll turn it on just because, alright, we're going to let my keyboard warm up, but I'm turning it on for you. I just didn't want it to make a hiss into the recording, but basically we have these three registers. Now, guess how much chord am I using now if I'm in my purple voice? If I'm in my purple voice, oh well, if I mix it, well, 30%, okay, before it's 100%, oh, maybe about 50%. So I'm actually using more chord in the purple voice. And the purple voice, in my painting, it's probably bigger than it is in real life. In real life, it's really not a lot of notes. It's let me just see if my keyboard's on now. Yes. So, I could sing, ah, right, that's all red, 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 blue, red, red, red. But who wants to sound like that? I'm not singing opera right now. All right, I can try, red, 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 red. Oh, that top note sounded horrible. I tried to, red, I tried to push it. But if I were able to get just the right amount of air, remember I said your voice has to be a balance of air and muscle. So if I were to go red, 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 purple, red, 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 that purple sounds like red, doesn't it? But it's not, because I'm doing something different with my chords. Red, 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 purple instead of blue. So we do vocal exercises. We do all these things like and all those exercises. I don't spend a ton of time teaching exercises on my videos because I figure you can find videos anywhere with vocal exercises. Hopefully they'll They're safe exercises. I do have practicing core vocal power, warm-up CD, and other exercises to help you, but my goal is that you have an understanding of what you're doing and that you can do your exercises with the right kind of mental attitude. For example, if I have a fear of high notes, and I know, oh my God, it's going to be high, I'm going to strain, I'm tightening my jaw, I'm not going to hit that note. So all of a sudden, I've created a physical problem because of something in my mind. So what I'm talking about goes far beyond doing vocal exercises. If you're only focused on doing those, you will only be addressing 1/3 of your instrument, and you may be hitting dead ends and wondering, why aren't I getting ahead? I've done all the exercises my coach told me to do, and your coach is yelling at you and telling you you're no good. Which, by the way, if you have a coach that does that, run. Okay, that's not constructive. It's not going to help you. But I'm saying, you're developing now all these negative energies around your voice. And pretty soon this painting is no longer a shiny red, purple, and blue. It becomes black. It becomes dark. It becomes dim because your voice is no longer free. So my goal for you isn't only for you to understand that you have 3 vocal registers, that as you get higher, you need less air, and as you get lower, you need more air, right? But my goal is to help you understand your inner mental dialogue while you're singing and what feelings are coming up for you. Are you completely free and present, or is there anything stopping you? That's what core vocal power is about. That's what this system is about. I'm going to be helping you understand your whole instrument. So just know that when you're doing exercises at home, like for example, if you're given an exercise like mum 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 mum, if you're given an exercise like that, either just don't think about anything, or think about an energy or a feeling that you want to focus on. And if you can practice being attentive while you're singing, for example, I'm going to think about my dog Phoebe the Wonder Pup. Mum, 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 mum. I'm thinking about Phoebe. Oh, I spaced out a little bit. See? I'm sharpening my mind while I sing. If you can get that muscle to work for you and not against you, because you're used to going, mum, 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 oh my gosh, that high note's coming, right? You're used to doing that. No. This is a program about vocal mastery. So I'm teaching you to way more than vocal exercises. I'm looking at the whole picture. Sometimes people want to jump right to the vocal drills, but again, if you have beliefs or thoughts, oh my gosh, I can't hit high notes, or oh, my head voice is wrong, or you're calling your head voice falsetto, you're going to have issues. Now let me explain what falsetto is, because I'm sure some of you guys are going, she said falsetto and head are different. Well, they are. I'm going to explain why. So if I'm singing, for example, oh, I'm singing head voice, oh, I'm using 1/3 of my chord. If I use less chord like this, hello, this is falsetto, I'm Mickey Mouse. Oh, just try it. Say, hello, I'm Mickey Mouse. See how I'm only using now the edge of my chords. I'm just using a little bit. I don't know anyone that wants to sing like that, unless you are doing a Mickey Mouse voiceover. So head voice means you're using more chord, but a lot of times people talk about head voice and falsetto interchangeably, especially if they're talking about guys. They'll say, oh, you need to go up in falsetto, but what they really mean is sing a nice head voice instead of a more nasal or chest voice, okay? Now, I could talk all day about how to bridge the gap, and I was just playing, basic exercise, okay? But I have way more. There's way more than that. If that's all your vocal coach is giving you, there's way more to singing than just doing mums and gugs and nays. That's a wonderful, wonderful program, and it works. Okay, it works, but there's so much more to it. So if you want the whole picture instead of 1/3 of the picture, then learn more about core vocal power. Get my Practicing Core Vocal Power CD if you want to learn how to warm up your mind, soul, body, and voice. I'm Vocal Empowerment Coach Todman. And remember, empowered singing is more than just hitting all of the right notes.
Just sing, love.